What's up, class? Today, I'm going to dig into chapter 13, which is all about using technology to manage information. Technology plays a huge part in most all of our daily lives and plays a huge part in most everyone's work lives as well. So both personal and work lives. And so I think this chapter has some information that you will find interesting. But most jobs today depend on managing information. So obtaining it, using it, creating it, and sharing it. So this chapter really digs into IT or information technology, and that includes the equipment and different techniques used to manage and process information. And information is at the heart of all organizations. So without information about the processes and participants in an organization, including different things such as, products, orders, inventory, scheduling, customers, suppliers, and employees, our businesses just would not be able to operate. So information is huge, and we are going to dig into it. So the beginning of the chapter starts by talking about how information technology, I will also refer to as IT. So if you hear me say IT, I'm referring to information technology, really has transformed business and managerial decision making. And again, businesses depend on information technology for everything from running daily operations to making strategic decisions. So companies must have management information systems that really gather, analyze, and distribute information to kind of appropriate different parties. So employees, suppliers, and customers. So these systems collect data and process it into usable information for decision making. And then managers really tap into these databases to access the information that they really need. So whether for placing inventory orders or scheduling production or just making those long range forecasts, it's very important. So also managers can take this information and compare it to the company's status, to its goals, to its standards, and come up with analyses like that as well. The company-wide enterprise resource planning systems that bring together human resources, operations, and technology are really becoming a huge part of business strategy. So then it kind of talks about in your chapter, why are computer networks an important part of today's IT systems? And so today's companies use networks of linked computers that share data and expensive hardware to improve operating efficiency. So there's different types of networks that include local area networks, wide area networks, and wireless local area networks. Intranets provide different WANs or WANs, depending on how you want to look at it, that allow companies' employees to really communicate quickly with one another and work on joint projects regardless of their location. And companies are really finding new uses for wireless technologies, such as tablets, cell phones, and other mobile devices like that. So it talks about some different virtual private networks that give companies a cost-effective, secure connection between remote locations by using public networks, such as the internet that we are all familiar with. But that's just kind of how networks or computer networks play an important part in today's systems. But it goes into talking about what types of systems make up a typical company's management information system. And typically that consists of, a transaction processing system, different manager support systems, and an office automation system. And if you have ever worked as an office manager or anything like that, you're probably familiar with some of this. But the transaction processing system collects and organizes operational data on the firm's activities. So management support systems help managers make better decisions, and they include an information reporting system that provides information based on the data collected by the TPS to the managers who actually need it. And decision to support systems use models to actually assist in answering, what if types of questions. And then they have expert systems that give managers advice similar to what they would get from a human consultant. So their executive information systems are really customized to the needs of the top management. All right. So when it talks about, how technology management and planning can really help companies optimize their information technology systems, it talks about, to really get the most value out of IT, companies must go beyond simply collecting and summarizing information. So it talks about technology planning, and that involves evaluating the company's goals and objectives and using the right technology to reach them. So IT managers must also evaluate the existing infrastructure to get the best return on the company's investment in IT assets. So it also mentions knowledge management, and that focuses on sharing an organization's collective knowledge to improve productivity and foster innovation. And some companies establish the position of chief knowledge officer to help these types of activities or knowledge management activities. So getting toward the end of the chapter, it talks about the best ways to protect computers and the information they contain. And as we have heard lots in the last several years about hacking and phishing and all of that, this is very important, especially to organizations. But because our companies and organizations have become more dependent on computers than ever before, we all need to make sure that we protect the data and equipment from natural disasters, but also computer crimes, such as the hacking and the phishing and all of the above. So there's different types of computer crime, which includes, unauthorized uses and access, software piracy, malicious damage, computer viruses. And so to protect these IT assets, companies really should prepare written security policies. They can also use technologies such as virus protection, firewalls, which is a big one, and then employee training and proper security procedures, which also can be super helpful. And they must also really take steps to protect customers' personal privacy rights as well. And I'm sure that you've heard of, and I've mentioned before about how Target had a big security breach back, I believe, in 2013-ish. Don't quote me on that. And their computer systems got hacked. So if you had shopped there and used a credit card, debit card of any type, then your information became vulnerable. And so things like that. So it's super important to make sure that all of your IT computer processes, all of that is protected. So not just to protect the organization, but your customers as well. And then at the very end of the chapter, it talks about different trends that are different leading trends, if you will, in information technology. And because IT is constantly changing, companies must stay on top of it, and stay on top of the latest trends to really kind of identify which ones help them maintain their competitive edge. And it goes into kind of talk about digital forensics, distributed workforce, grid computing, etc. But with digital forensics techniques, corporations, government agencies, attorneys, lawmakers, they can all obtain evidence from computers and corporate networks. So think your web pages, your pictures, your documents, emails, etc. And many knowledge workers now work remotely rather than from an office, especially after COVID. So companies adopting the distributed workforce model has really gained many benefits, such as cost savings, more satisfied and productive employees, increased employees retention, etc. A lot of people seek out remote opportunities. So this has been, again, a huge increase in these types of things, especially since COVID. And I think COVID just helped companies realize that people actually can work from home and still be efficient and effective. But it also goes into cloud computing and how it harnesses the power of computers, online software, and data storage to create a virtual computing environment that is invisible to a user. So a company can really access the cloud on an like as need basis of investing its own like supercomputer equipment. So outsourcing a portion of a company's computing needs really provides that additional flexibility and cost advantages. So that is kind of a wrap on chapter 13. I hope you all enjoy it, and I will be chatting with you soon.